All right, last up, we are going to talk about Mr. Ja Morant, NBA superstar Ja Morant, the guy who I predicted to be the MVP of the league this year, Ja Morant. When we did our NBA preseason predictions, I think I said the Clippers for the championship and
Oh wow.
Ja Morant for MVP. I think that was what I said. And it looks like I'm wrong on both accounts. Um, but John Morant is out here wilding. So for anybody who is unaware, John Morant on well, today's the 7th. So this happened on Friday, which was March the 3rd. He went to his IG live. It looked like he was either in a club or a strip club. He flashed a pistol while he was on IG live. And he was, just doing social media new human weirdo stuff. And he was on IG Live and he showed the pistol. Since then, he has been given a 2-game leave of absence because I don't consider it a suspension. I call it a leave of absence. A 2-game leave of absence away from the team as he seeks the help that he needs. I don't know
Hmm.
what the hell that means. I have no idea. I have no idea what that means. I'm getting tired of these situations with these people who get suspended or told to leave, and then they have to get help. And it's like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, we're getting too
Yo.
ambiguous with this stuff. But he's away from the team for 2 days for 2 games to get the help that he needs. But it's generated a larger conversation around John Morant and the people that he hangs with, and you know aspects of maturity and making good choices and not doing stuff like this because it sends a bad message and all of this other stuff. So, you know, just to provide some context for anybody who is not up to date with this story, I'll just go ahead and share this real quick to read a little bit. Um, if you want to see the video of John Moran, I'm pretty sure you can find it anywhere on Twitter where he was on IG Live. There's the pic right there of him flashing the pistol. It looks like his shirt is off. People are basically concluding that he was at a strip club, although I do not believe that it is 100% conclusive that he was in a strip club. That is neither here nor there. He was somewhere being a member of the night. We can all agree on that. He was somewhere out being a member of the night, having a good time. He flashed a pistol. That's a no. And so now he's away from the team and he is seeking help. And this article from the New York Post says the troubles are continuing to mount for John Morant as the Grizzlies superstar guard is out indefinitely following an ill-advised Instagram live video that he shared of himself flashing a gun at a strip club. It has emerged that he would be subject to a potentially lengthy NBA suspension if it turns out that he brought the firearm on team premises, which included the Grizzlies' plane or locker room. NBA reporters Mark Stein and Chris Haynes discussed their matter on their podcast, This League Uncut, whatever. We're not going to play that. Stein suggested on the podcast that Morant could be facing a 50-game suspension if it was determined he possessed the weapon on team premises, but later clarified that an exact suspension length would be up to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. David Stern suspended former Wizards star Gilbert Arenas indefinitely. It turned out to be 50 games in 2010 for bringing guns into the team's locker room.
Gilbert.
And I remember that. That was actually pretty. It was kind of funny, honestly, just
It
because Gilbert
was.
Arenas was always a funny guy to me. So it was funny the way that whole thing happened with Gilbert, because it's like he lost a dice game or something, and it's like it was a poker game or a dice game or something. And he somebody owed him money, so he brought guns to the arena. It's like, what are you doing, Gilbert? So I remember that. That was kind of I thought that it was humorous. I'm pretty sure SJWs thought that it was just serious and all. Oh, you can't do that. But you know, there's an ongoing dialogue with concerning John Morant about this situation and what he did and bringing the
Hmm.
gun and all of this other stuff. There's all of these ancillary aspects of the conversation going on about his dad being a father versus being a friend. And
Yeah,
John
boy. People
Morant was
going
raised in a
in.
two-parent, right? And so it's like, well, John Morant was raised in a two-parent household with in the suburbs, and look at what he's doing wilding out.
That's right.
and all of this other stuff about being a role model and making good decisions and how to properly conduct yourself as a $200 million athlete and knowing when to get rid of certain people and leave certain lifestyles and people behind. So it's a big conversation. A lot of people are talking about John Morant this week. What did you make of what John Morant has going on?
I think that he just had too much success too fast. That's the skinny of what I think he's got going on, and I think he's just very young. Just it was too much too fast. If because how old is he now? 23, 24.
23, I think. Yeah.
So the guy was a millionaire at 21. Um, Access to any woman he wants at 21. Whatever car he wants, he can drive it, lease it, house he can get it. Everybody knows his name. He's 21. He grew up listening to trap rappers and um,
Yeah.
yeah, and people talking about rolling up on ops. He grew up listening to this. So this is why I'm bringing up all of this stuff. Personally, raised in two-parent household. Personally, raised by parents who gave a damn. All right, I went to public school where that was a 180 from the house, and then I listened to garbage music and watch garbage music videos every day. That made me do a 180 from my parents.
Yeah.
And so, in my mind, when I was 15 years old and I was going to the league, you weren't going to tell me I wasn't going. I said, when I go to the league, I'm going to be the realest nigga alive. They're not going to stop me. See, they stopped Iverson. You know, the corporate stuff, telling him he can't wear this. I'm going to wear what I want to wear. I'm going to show up to the games wearing, latest shit, you know, goals in my mouth. So I'm from Florida. I'm from Miami. So goals is the thing. So these new kids, they like all these diamond grills. So he shows up to the game with diamond grills. He grew up hip hop. And as we talked about before, hip hop's not culture. So this kid grew up thinking when I go to the league, what's that boy name too? Bridges from Charlotte.
Mikhail Bridges? No, not Mikhail
Not
Bridges.
Mikhail Bridges. That's the other.
No.
Yeah. I forgot
I
that
know who you're
boy name.
talking about.
Yeah, but damn,
Yeah.
in the comment section, guys, which Bridges is the one in Charlotte? You know, the one that's talking about sipping lean and having pistols and selling drugs and smoking weed before the game in his music. You know what he's doing? He's doing the same thing Job's doing. I'm a real nigga in the NBA though.
Miles Bridges.
Miles Bridges, there you go.
Miles Bridges, yeah.
The whole shtick is that you can't stop me from being a real nigga. It's like Ja. Ja. Like, hey man, everybody that's watching you grew up around guys like that. This is a different time, bro. When Iverson did it, it was the first. Nobody's seen that type of behavior before, period. It was new. It was hip hop. So Ja being the new age reincarnation of it, if you will, for these kids, he has that same little but this is the new version of it, with social media and all this other crap. And so yeah, Ja, he's no different than me. Completely out of his mind, confused. When I was 21, I finally picked things up, but I didn't get a contract in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I was broke as
Yeah.
hell, so I had to figure shit out. And then I figured out I was living life wrong at 21. If I had started making money at 19, 20, those lessons I learned at 21 would have never learned them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be this age right now, still ignorant to stuff that I found out at 21, 22 years old. Because money opened up the availability of being out of my mind. Josh out of his mind. him doing all this stuff, nightclub, like you said, strip club or not, in the backyard, and him beating up a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Allegedly, he flashed a gun at that kid too.
Allegedly, with all of this, by the way,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
need Ja or T Ja coming after me. But how do you feel about this, man? I don't like it. I don't like this behavior. I think that this young man is completely brainwashed.
Yeah, he is. It's his programming. It's his programming. And
Mhm.
it's unfortunate that whenever people in the media bring stuff like this up, people in the internet want to immediately dismiss it. When they were talking about this on Countdown last week, Michael Wilbon, who's an older guy, I want to say Michael Wilbon is like, how old is Michael Wilbon? Like late 50s, maybe early 60s, something like that.
He's in
I
he's
don't know exactly how old Mike Wilbon is. I ain't trying to age him if he's not that old, but he brought
old
up,
man, but
he when they were talking about this on Countdown, Michael Wilbon brought up how these are some of the things that are unique unto the black community, because there's an aspect of our quote unquote culture which embraces thug mentality. And he wasn't shot down on the show when he brought it up, but he was shot down by people who were immediately wanting to dismiss that because we sort of believe that this kind of stuff is normal. And I think that this is all programming. Like, he's a 23-year-old child. You found it?
oh, no, my bad. I was looking at a comment section. Somebody says here that he's in Memphis with Glorilla and Black Youngster. So he's in the streets. Gigi unit.
Ain't
Uh,
Yo Gotti from Memphis too, ain't he?
that's right, man.
Yeah,
You gotta keep it hood,
Yo
bro.
Gotti from Memphis, and what's his name was from Memphis too.
Dolph. You gotta keep it
Dolph.
street.
There you go. Yeah, he was from Memphis. Yeah.
That's right.
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is programming, so I think that that's 100% valid. Like, you have to take into account this kid's age. Like, one of the disservices that we have done to pro athletes is we have created this culture of responsibility around them. And so, because we've created this culture of responsibility around them, we've in turn created this culture around them in which they are disqualified from doing human things. Like, we as human beings are imperfect. We're broken and we're imperfect and we do stupid stuff. And John Morant is no different. And so when John Morant did this, he was being a broken and imperfect human being, which we all are. It just so happens that you have to couple John Morant's brokenness and imperfection with the fact that he is subjected to hip hop programming, as most young black kids are. And so when you combine those two things, what you're going to get is the propensity for this kind of behavior. It's our responsibility as a society at large to not place these stipulations of perfection upon these individuals, because they're going to do stupid stuff and they have to be given the grace to learn their lesson. Now, am I excusing John Morant for doing this? No. And a large part of the reason as to why I'm not excusing him for doing this is because in my older age, I have really taken a turn. Well, in my older age, I have like turned the corner in terms of the way that I view a lot of this hip hop stuff and this music stuff. It is what it is. You can call me what you want, but I really do have mixed emotions with respect to the value of this music and the value that the music has on our population. I think it does more harm than good for the most part, because most of us, John Morant included, do not have the filter to be able to sort of take in a lot of these things as entertainment and forms of expression. He internalizes this stuff as real life. And so, because he internalizes this stuff as real life, and these champions and these individuals that he looks up to, they portray the music as their real life. he is going to in turn sort of project it as this is my culture and this is who I am and this is what I represent, even if it's to the detriment of his actual personal growth. Now, I recognize these things, but when I express them, I get kickback because I'm told that the music doesn't really do all that. And I firmly believe that it does. I think his diamond grill, as you like to call it, his tattoos, all the way down to his hair, the cuts in his eyebrows, that all comes from programming. He did not come up with that stuff himself. And going on IG Live and flashing a gun is also a part of his programming. So he can make the mistake. Thank you know, thankfully, no one was harmed, no one was hurt, no one was injured. And so, because no one was hurt, harmed, or injured, we can use this as a teachable moment for him so that he can learn his lesson and hopefully reverse some of his behavior and do things a little differently in the future. But this is more so an indication of how we view these guys. And it's no different than Will Smith. I said back before when Will Smith was going through his situation after slapping the shit out of Chris Rock. Like, Will Smith went on this contrition tour and got on his YouTube channel and made these videos doing a Q&A in which he was answering questions from fans. The only reason why he chose to do that was because he felt as though he violated our expectations of him. It wasn't because he wasn't being himself in that moment, because I think he was. Like Chappelle said, he took his mask off. He was being himself in that moment, but he felt as though he had to pay a penance for it because he violated our expectations of him. And now John Morant is going through this largely because he violated our expectations of him supposedly living a mistake-free life or a mistake-free existence. This dude is going to do dumb shit. And this was dumb shit that he did. And he needs to be held to account for that. But is he going to do something in the future that's just as, if not more dumb? Potentially. You can't take that away from him because his programming is what it is. On top of his programming, he's an imperfect, fractured human being who's capable of doing dumb stuff and making stupid mistakes. So we need to stop hero worshiping these guys and creating this veil or this shroud of perfection around them and treating the narrative around these incidents as a referendum on their character or lack thereof, when really all of us are going to do dumb stuff from time to time, and he's no different. So his programming does apply. That's probably the part of this that sticks in my craw the most. Like, we really need to stop. And this is where I agree with people like Mike Wilbon. And I'm a stick in the mud. I'm older. It is what it is. But we need to stop embracing a lot of these damaging, destructive themes that is inherent in this entertainment and this music, or as you like to call it, mind control, because you don't believe in entertainment. You call it, mind control, conditioning. And I think that it is as such. It controls these people's behaviors and it controls his behavior. And it's such a powerful guiding force that it renders the fact that he grew up in the suburbs, raised by two parents, completely null and void because they can't be around him at all times. They can't control his actions. They definitely can't tell him what to do because he is the breadwinner of the family. He
Crazy.
provides for them. He
Crazy.
tells them. He probably is in position to tell them what to do because
Which
he
he does.
provides for them.
I'm sure he does.
So you can't tell this dude, you can't tell this kid what to do, what to say, how to dress, how to act. So you factor all of that in. All this says to me is, hey man, lesson learned, bro. Don't get on IG Live doing this new human stuff, flashing pistols in front of the camera. Because this is the price that you pay for it. It's stupid. It's hella stupid. But is it completely understandable? In my opinion, absolutely.
Yeah, well said, dude. And I don't know what's gonna make him learn to not be this character because he's not being himself.
Yeah.
And I don't care what he says. Like, if I talk to him one-on-one and he displays this person that was waving that gun and punched that 17-year-old kid, then he's crazy.
Right.
Or if I talk to him and then he's open about how he was programmed, about, man, I learned this from that. He's not going to call it programming, but I started doing this from this, dude, to be honest with you. If he's honest where he's getting his behavior, I had to be honest where I was getting all this goofy behavior from. It was very stupid. but I had to have this persona I felt. And so by having this persona, I'm putting myself in bad situations. I'm in the wrong area of town. I don't know these people. By the way, Miami's demographics are changing, but there's still some areas in Miami where you don't go if you don't know the people there. And here I go, young, green as hell, and being in areas I do not belong in, wearing stuff that I should get robbed for. Thank goodness nothing happened. But the point remains is what makes me feel obligated to be out of character. And I had to be honest that it was, social pressure from the city, but also a lot of this dumb music and entertainment that I was ingesting my entire life. And so for him, if he's honest with the fact, well, hey man, I'm getting all this stuff from listening to what's these kids listening to Pooh Shiesty. And if you listen to Pooh Shiesty's music, by the way, people on the conscious approach wouldn't dare listen to Pooh Shiesty. But if you do happen to listen,
locked up right now.
Yeah, he is.
He locked up
for actually shooting at people and being
Correct.
an idiot.
Correct.
And the reason why I brought him up is he's actually an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you are like the hottest kid. Everybody loves you. Why are you really out here trying to finesse and shoot? What are you doing? No, you don't understand. See, these kids don't know the difference. They're literally living in that world that we all knew was fiction when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ja, listening to Pooh Shiesty, listening to all of these people, thinks that he grew when Ja was, somebody do the math on this. When Ja was probably like 6, 7 years old, Chief Keef was blowing up.
Yeah.
This kid's frame of reference is Chief Keef and up. Yeah. He has no reference of art when it comes to hip hop. He only knows trapping, finessing, killing, murdering, doing lean. He ain't gonna sip lean. Thank goodness. Hopefully not.
Right.
All right. Yeah, man. Don't get and not lean to the point where it's gonna incapacitate you like DeMarcus Russell. I'm talking about just recreationally doing it. Don't even sip it at a club. Like, there's no need to get into that life. And for everybody who's watching this, who's older, if you came from our cohort and up, hell, even the ones that are slightly up under us, we've seen enough to know that this is stupid behavior. And now, we got the internet for everybody that's weighing in on this. And, the world is having a intervention with him, telling him that because everybody can see that he's a nice guy. He may not think so because he'll bust somebody's ass, right? He's got a pistol, so he'll clap somebody. So I ain't sweet. Nobody's saying you're sweet, John. We're saying that you're not the guys who do federal time in prison. So stop acting like
nor should you want to be. Nor should you want to be.
So stop acting like him, bro. $100 million contract, shoes. You're blowing other stuff out the window, bro.
Bro got his own shoe. He on Powerade. His contract is like $200 million.
You'll see me in every commercial, bro. If I was Ja Morant, I'm in every commercial. I'm in your feed on YouTube. I'm getting YouTube checks from ads. I'm advertising conditioners in Memphis. Air conditioners. I don't care. I'm doing anything if I'm Ja Morant to get a bag. You're ruining bags. You're ruining future. There's some contracts or there's some things that you probably can't get right now because of all this behavior. So yeah, man, I'm not a fan of this. I think it's ridiculous, but I think it stems from him absorbing too much stuff and having too much access to too much stuff at a young age. Yeah. Where he was in that perfect storm of confusion plus money. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you right now, I was at same level of confused. I didn't have the money or exposure to be seen doing this dumb shit. But trust and believe, if I had $100 million contract when I was 19 or whatever, he didn't have that much money. But you get what I'm saying? If I had that kind of money when I was 19, I would have been on a yacht pouring champagne on some video chick because I saw Dame Dash doing it. Nelly. I got a credit card.
Yeah.
I'm swiping it in between this stripper's ass cheeks. I
Yeah.
saw Nelly do it. Now, I'm not doing it because I saw them doing it. I'm just saying, if there's a yacht party and I got champagne and I know this girl will take it in the face, I'm going to spray champagne on her. Or if I'm at anything else, I would have been doing stuff because if it's at a if it's a the same yacht party, hell, different yacht party because I'm balling. And then there's strippers there, and I got a credit card. By the way, guys, I'm 19 years old, so this is 2005. I would have did that as a joke, just because Nelly did it. Hey, y'all, look, this stripper's busting ass on my boat. Ha 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 ha. Would I do that now? No. But I was young and I was confused. Young, confused. Two-parent household, who gives a damn? Right?
Yeah.
If the same people out there that love to holler about, well, yeah, I know. Okay, then it doesn't matter that he has two parents because, like people are saying, the internet is saying, psychoanalyzing his father, saying that he's too busy trying to be a groupie, hang around, just enjoying the games and not being a real father. And so people are attacking him. But hey, man, I think this whole thing is sad for him. Hopefully this works, this intervention, and he just stops. But I'm telling you, right, I don't think he's on the level of go to jail, crazy shit. He's just doing a lot of dumb kiddie things. Hopefully he grows out of it.
Yeah, I don't think he's there yet, but it could get to that point because now there are a few incidents now with him, um, and and multiple of these incidents involve
Violence
guns.
and violence.
Yes, so at a certain point, like we like to give these guys grace because we just want to believe that these athletes are above board, but sometimes this is who they are. It just is what it is.
I hope
But
that.
it's unfortunate, but like it's just it sucks because we do not give enough attention to the programming aspect of this stuff. We're so quick to talk about how he needs to do better and make better choices and how his parents were this or that or his dad is this or that or the money or all of this other stuff. We're so quick to talk about that and we don't talk about the social conditioning and the programming because it's a faux pas. It's almost seen as in poor taste to say, "Hey man, hip hop made me do it." But sometimes in these conversations, it's worth mentioning, "Hey man, these guys are young." It's like you said, when I was young, I was subjected to programming my damn self. I just didn't have $1 million to be able to
Right.
exact my programming to the fullest extent.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
if I was a millionaire at 19, 20 years old, I would have because
Right.
and all I can say to John Morant is that I hope he learns similar to Michael B. Jordan, to be honest, at some point during his maturation process, that he learns that it is okay for him to think for himself.
Yes.
And if he learns through thinking for himself that that stuff is actually who he is, then as you said, at that point, I will contend that he has a problem.
Yeah.
I would contend that he has an absolute problem. But
Agreed.
until we have enough evidence to suggest that that's what's going on, I have to chalk this up to him being no different than these other dudes that I was around, that I continue to be around sometimes, that are just ingratiated with a lot of the entertainment and mind control programming and the music and stuff that they consume in too heavy of a dosage on too much of a regular basis.
Hmm.
That's what this is. And you can break it down along cultural lines because I would argue people who are just the same age as him, who are coming into the same money as him,
Yep.
but whose cultural edifice isn't the same. And so they aren't subject to the same form of programming. That's the reason why you don't see them doing the same kind of stuff that you see people like John Morant doing. But we don't talk about it enough because it is too much of a it's like a scarlet letter almost to bring up the music because you're not down or you're not cool or you're not with us enough or whatever to bring up if you bring up the music, like you're not supposed to do that. Hey man, look, I'm gonna bring this shit up, and I'm gonna bring up these shows, and I'm gonna bring up this entertainment, and I'm gonna bring up this social media stuff. I'm gonna bring it up because it has an overpowering guiding influence on the way that a lot of these people from these younger generations conduct themselves and behave. And all of the two-parent households in the world are not powerful enough to offset that.
Exactly, dude.
Because if the mind control was powerful enough to offset it for me, and it's 10 times worse now than what it was 10, 15 years ago, then of course it has no bearing on whether John Morant's going to do mind control stuff when he has a $200 million contract and it has the world at his and has the world as his oyster. So people need to talk about this more than talking about the kid, the parents, and how it's all on John Morant to do this or do that. Hey man, look, at the very most, you just got to chalk this up as a learning experience. It is what it is, man. It is. But these jits out here are programmed. They're brainwashed. They are. They are.
I can't. And his affinity with guns, his affinity with guns at this point makes zero sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why he's. I mean, you heard about the thing where he got into some beef with somebody or whatever at a game or whatever. And people was pointing lasers.
Pointing a laser, yeah, yeah.
Like, what are y'all doing? Y'all thought that was cute. So you hang around people who do stuff like that to think that's cool. That's wild stuff, man.
Yeah,
you gotta get that up.
Yeah, and I, Joe Budden, would argue that John Morant is corny.
No, real talk. Like that's corny, and that's why everybody's calling out because it's like, bro, we all know you're not from that,
right?
So it makes you look stupid.
Yeah,
and so even if he crashes out and actually does something dumb, we still know he's not from that.
Right?
He just crashed out in front of everybody's face. So he needs to slow down. But you can't tell a kid with all of that going on to slow down. And that's why when we mentioned him before, that's why I was like, he needs Iverson. He needs somebody that did it to talk to him, who had those friends, who made them friends that made him feel guilty. So he kept giving them money. Them friends that made him do this. So he kept doing that for them. He bought them he got them a business credit line or something like that. Don't do none of this for these people. Because when you were in the gym, they were sitting on the block waiting for you to get out.
Yeah.
They're still there, sitting for you to wait to get out of the arena with lasers in their hand, pointing them at ops. Getting probed out of the arena.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, man, absolutely crazy. But again, the internet getting at him like this, and Ja comes off as a kid. Well, you can't tell him what to do, which is probably why his dad can't get him under control like the internet's saying. He looks like a person you can't talk to.
Right, but his dad can't get him under control when his dad is depending on him for his livelihood. So who is his dad? Who is his dad to tell him how to act and what to do when his dad is one of the members of his entourage?
That's crazy.
His dad, when that situation went down with Shannon Sharp at the Lakers game with the Grizzlies, his dad was there on the front lines, ready to do something. He's one of your boys at this point. He's not your father. And he depends on your life. His livelihood is dependent upon his son. So there's nothing that he can tell him. You're not going to risk. What you going to do? Tell your son something that he needs to hear and risk him cutting you off? You can't have that. Boy, this stuff is all.
That's some sucker
This
ass
stuff
shit.
this stuff is all programming, bro. It is. It's all programming. It's all programming, and hopefully this can just be. Hopefully this can serve as a teachable moment for him. And yeah, maybe he needs to go and talk to Allen Iverson or something like this. But talk to Allen Iverson. Don't go talking to people like Matt Barnes or Steven Jackson, who are just older versions of John Morant.
Thank you.
So do not.
And if you want to talk about corny, right? I don't care. I'm dropping names. Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. Some dudes are corny, and the internet's seen it now. I think it took a while, I'm even in all the smoke comment section occasionally every once in a while just to see what people got to say, and then people be calling them out in there. So it's just like, yeah, man, these guys they lost it. They lost
Yeah,
their facade. So
yeah,
yeah, that's a good
yeah,
comp, bro. If you keep this
yeah.
up, Jock, look at Steven Jackson. You'll be checking in Memphis 10 years from now, talking about you on old block.
40 plus.
Are we beat?
You going on 50 talking, you going on 50 talking like you a rapper.
Come on, bro.
Like
What are we doing?
this shit has got to stop. It
Sagging
does.
pants and everything.
It really does. It really does.
Young Jaw. Get him, Young Jaw. Young Jaw. That should be his name.
Oh man, yeah. Hopefully, man, he'll get straight, man, and um, get back on the straight and narrow. Because yeah, this is madness. And yeah, I'm glad you brought up the programming angle. I was going to do the same. It doesn't get talked about enough because this is our culture. It can't be blamed for it because we're so proud of it because it's our culture. But it has a lot to do with influencing situations like this. And more people like Michael Wilbon brings it up. I bring it up if I was on these shows. I don't give a damn. I would. And I'm not going to be too scared to bring it up because it needs to be said. Because his parental guidance clearly wasn't enough to sway him from doing dumb shit like this. So um,
I said,
it is what it is,
but
man.
Jay said, 3 cuts in your eyebrow, trying to wild
Y-
out.
y- y- yeah, the game is ours. We'll never bow out. Y'all just gotta hope that we gracefully foul out. Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
man.
but yeah, it is what it is, man. Go ahead and get right, John, man. Get back on the court. But that will do it for our stream this week, man. Great topics, great conversation. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate the boy McCall for tuning in as well, friend of the channel and also a close friend of the squad. So
Hey, hey.
appreciate you for tuning in, man. As I always like to say, man, we appreciate you supporting this logical content that we kick on the Conscious Approach channel on YouTube each and every week. My name is JV Wins. That is Dogon SS. If you have not done so, please hit that subscribe button so that you can get notifications whenever new content is published to the channel as we continue to crank out that goodness. Be on the lookout for the RSS feed. It will be uploaded to all podcast platforms, Pandora, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your audio fix, so that you can listen to this in audio form. If you are watching this video on the Meta page, go ahead and follow the page, hit that like button, share the video, leave a comment wherever you watch this video because we certainly like to get a gander of what the people have to say about what we said about these various topics. You can find me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS, and the Constant Approach page is also on Instagram at Conapproach, CONAPPROACH. So until next time. Please continue to support the logical content because we certainly appreciate it. And please, please, please learn how to think for yourself. Learn how to be your own unique individual self. Do not be a group thinker. Don't go with the wave. No matter what your skin color, your sex, gender, race, creed is, it doesn't matter. Think for yourself, man. As long as your opinions are your own and not the opinions of those whom you think you need to have that opinion for, you're all good. But otherwise, don't be a group thinker. Stay on your square, be your unique self, think for yourself, and you'll be all the better for it. And until next time, we certainly appreciate you supporting this logical content.
Absolutely. And the name is Dogon SS skr. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon underscore SS and at YouTube at Dogon underscore SS. And as I always say on every pod, guys, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it playing, man. Don't let anybody get you off your pivot. And as JV Wins just said, man, y'all stay on y'all square. All right. So until the next time, guys, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Yep, yeah. Get rid of that programming, man. You got to exercise the demons.
Let it go.
Exercise them demons, man. No more mind control, no more programming. But that'll do it for us. We're signing off. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.
Peace.